Hello? Can anyone around here speak basketball?
There it is.
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.
Kyle Lowry. Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Freddie Rivas. And who, sir, are you?
I am the producer, Matt Duncan. I am here pressing the buttons on the keys, turning the knobs, giving some input here and there. Fred, how are you?
I'm doing good. You are as slick as always. You are an absolute professional. I am a total slop show of a person, but you know, we're Pascal and Fred. We are jam and peanut butter. I don't know who's the sloppy one out of them, I guess, because they're both less sloppy than me. But hey, here we are. We are a basketball podcast. We're Raptors fans. We are, pseudo analysts. Mm-hmm. We're cracking jokes, and we're trying to have some fun. If people want to find us, help us, get behind us becoming like the biggest podcast in the world, even though we're like a niche thing. How can they do that?
Before I get to that, there's two things I'd like to say. The first thing is congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks for winning.
That's right. I'm sorry.
The NBA championship, their first time in 50 years. My God, it's a long time. The second thing I will say is this is our season finale for season 8. So I would like to thank, on behalf of Freddie and I, all the fans that listen to the show, all the guests that have participated, taken time out of this crazy year to help us get these episodes out. Thank you so much. And it was a tough Raptors season. It was the toughest one we've had yet, but we endured. We did something that no other team has ever done, 72 away games. And I don't think any of these other teams have the balls to do something like that. So we should be pretty damn proud of ourselves. What do you think, Fred?
I think you're exactly right. Thank you so much to everyone who's been listening. The guests and to you, man. You've helped me through this, and I feel like the NBA, season has taken us to, I guess, let's say in Canada, anyhow, like a more vaccinated part of the pandemic, which is really nice. And for people who don't know Matt very well, he'll drift into character sometimes. And I think you heard a little bit of the balls there. There was that SNL Sweaty Balls sketch, I do believe. So cheers to you, Matt. You can't keep the silliness at bay, and I don't want you
to. Thanks, Freddie. Yeah, no, it's a pleasure to produce this pod. We've been going a long time now. And now, go to dunkspodcast.com. We've got all of our episodes there. We've got our categories for each of our seasons. We did 31 episodes for season 8. So if you want to go back and see what it was like to be in Florida, please, we have a lot of opinions throughout the season. It was quite fun. And as well, we're on the Sonar Network. Please go to thesonarnetwork.com. We've got so many great podcasts. They keep adding them all the time. This is crazy. I feel like eventually it's just going to be all the podcasts are going to be on the Sonar Network. We're getting Apple Podcast credit, everything. It's crazy. So check out the Sonar Network. And as well on our Instagram or Twitter, we've got Linktree set up for you to, subscribe to our Patreon if you want same day recordings, as well as some hot sauce, all the good stuff. We even got some toques. I'm pretty sure. Hopefully they haven't got some of these moth holes in them because boy, oh boy, there's a lot of caterpillars around these days, but I'm sure Freddie's got them in Ziploc bags or something there in his house. So don't worry. We won't sell you moth holed toques. They're anti-caterpillar proof toques.
Wow.
As well as anti-itch, of course, as you know. So thanks again. And Fred, you want to talk a little bit about finalizing this pool?
let's finish off this pool before you start talking about moths and caterpillars any longer. Because I thought we'd stay focused on the anti-itch part of the toques, but now I gotta go put them all in Ziploc bags, I guess.
Yeah,
Toques are fine, everybody. Okay,
yeah, they're totally fine. Yeah, they're fresh off the press, as they say.
That's right. They're in a Ziploc bag and no moths in sight. Maddie, I love you. You gem of a person. This was really, really close.
Yeah.
I think, which I wonder if it will be the type of thing where it will be less close in other years, or if it's a good way to design a tournament. For anyone who's just coming in at the end of this, I'll just give you a very, very quick recap on the setup. Matt has designed an Excel spreadsheet 2021 playoff pool where we rank the teams from 1 to 16. And that kind of allowed, the nuance of our opinions to work their way through. And Matt just did like a reverse score. So the lower the ranked team, the less you'd get for a win. And the final score is Maddie 875 and me, Freddie, 884. It honestly came down to the last series, didn't it?
It came down to the Bucks winning. Yeah, it was Suns or Bucks. It's crazy because you look at the list at the start of the playoffs and it's like, okay, there just seems like there's enough variation here where someone could get a huge lead and this could have been over, in the third round or something. But it really came down to who was winning the finals, and which is pretty exciting. Which is also cool about this. If you do want to check it out, go to our YouTube and you can see the final spreadsheet there. Freddie, congratulations on you calling the championship Bucks at the beginning of the playoffs. I did not do that. I called the 76ers to win, and boy, did that cost me. That cost me.
I'm very proud of myself. I think as someone who doesn't really care about the Bucks at all, but just thinks they're good, I've been embarrassed a couple times.
It's true. You have been very pro Bucks for many years. So
it just has always looked good to me. The Budenholzer, critiques have been, I guess fair, but they never told the full story to me.
That's his first head coach win, isn't it?
No, he was a head coach for Atlanta and was very good there too, but struggled in the playoffs.
Oh, so but he didn't win a championship with them. I mean,
no, he didn't, but they were, I think he had a 60-win team in Atlanta. So,
oh, wow.
This Bucks like regular season really added to this lore of, can this guy win in the playoffs?
Yeah.
And that's over. He's a winner. Giannis is a winner. PJ Tucker, Lopez, Middleton, Dante DiVincenzo, the whole crew.
Happy for Tucker. That's huge for Tucker, man. Like,
me too. What a journey for that guy.
Yeah. Crazy journey. That's a good 30 for 30. I feel like PJ Tucker's career. I will just say the last thing about this pool now that it has expired. The highest score we could possibly get was 1,057. So 884 and 875. That I think that's pretty good.
Ooh, I didn't even think about like potential scores. So that means so we did a pretty good job at predicting, even with some upsets.
Yeah, it looks like it. I think that a lot of the bottom teams we were, pretty on par with. It was just a couple of, crazy upsets like the Lakers and you choosing the Suns to be the 14th rank hurt you a bit. If you had them higher, I think it would have been over.
But I just didn't think I thought LeBron was going to take care of the Suns. That it was that simple for me. Actually, I think I had him in 5. So I was quite wrong,
Yeah, we both had the Lakers 4th. Yeah.
Well, lessons learned.
That was fun, Fred. We'll do it again next year, and we'll try to open it up to some people.
Damn right. Thanks for designing it. I think before we jump right in this amazing pod with great guests, Derick Deonarain, producer at CBC, Nick Reynoldson from Talking Raptors, and JFL, and Sirius, a bunch of cool stuff. Before we get going, I think I absolutely just very quickly want to touch on how upsetting a day it was in the city of Toronto. And I'm talking about Lamport Stadium and the forcible removal of folks who don't have any place to go. So are intense. And yeah, it was just brutal. The images and videos and everything involved is disheartening and frustrating. And everyone should be very angry, and we should all call the mayor's office. So make sure you call John Tory and let him know how upset you are. And I think, I'll say that. And I'll also say what I usually say, Black Lives Matter, defund the police, stop Asian hate, and email or call your city councilors. They have to listen to you. You are a constituent. Get in their ear.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think with that, let's start talking some basketball. Maddie, if you feel like we're good to go, please, sir, just give me those sweet words. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this pod going. I'm super pumped to have these two guests on together. I think it's going to be an awesome episode. And obviously, we got a lot to talk about with the NBA championship going to the Milwaukee Bucks yesterday. But let's bring a guest number one. He's amazing. He's hilarious. He's a fantastic stand-up. He's a wicked baller. I think he's pretty nasty at 2K. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's better people, but he could like eviscerate me for sure. And you guys probably know him from his podcast, Talking Raptors on Raptors Republic. Give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Nick Reynoldson. Some royalty free for you.
I like that. I like it. Good choice. Happy to be here, Freddie.
I'm happy to have you. This is, I feel like, been a long time coming. You're amazing. You run a podcast with Barry, who people should know if they don't. Yeah, I'm happy to have you, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. I'm happy. I'm very happy to be. This is long overdue, brother. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, but it's going to be extra special, like we both want it, like we're both chilling, we both have like different types of hair we're growing out, so it's good stuff. Okay, let's bring our guest number two. He's done the pod, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 times. He's an amazing guest, producer at CBC. He's worked on a bunch of shows. I'm not exactly sure what he's working on now because he's always doing cool stuff. But give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Derick Deonarain. Hey, buddy.
Hey, man, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. I thought I maybe was going to have a little meltdown just before I introduced you, but I got confused by my tabs, and here we are.
I thought you forgot his name again.
Oh, yeah, that would have been pretty bad if you called me Kevin again.
Listen, we got to talk about this every time. Nick, I'm happy I got your name. I called him Kevin. It's the farthest thing from his actual name, and I need to hear about it until the day I die.
I definitely thought you forgot his name. That's what I thought, and now I still think it in the back of my head, and you're just playing it. I had a lot of tabs open. Oh, did you, Freddie? You didn't know you're doing your own podcast today?
Maybe. Now I'm confused about what I even remember. Guys, this is how it always starts on Confederacy of Dunks. It's confusing. I'm just firing off on all cylinders, and I don't know. I feel like we should just start talking raps.
Yes, sir.
Maddie, I know you're there. Please, good sir, give me your most delicious Raptors sting.
Raptors
Matt coming in with the stings. Okay. Let's start with you, Derick. I'm thinking kind of just like draft general talk. Like, I don't know if you're like, I want to talk about how we should draft Suggs. That's cool with me. But I'm kind of wondering where you're at as far as like, are you excited about the draft? Are you kind of wanting the Raptors to make some announcements before we get going, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about the draft because we haven't had a pick this high since Chris Bosh. So, this is a pretty significant pick. And prior to Bosh, last time we had a pick like this, because I'm just gonna forget about the Bargnani years, was Vince when we did the
Yes.
trade with Anton Jameson. So it's significant. It's a big deal. I'm excited, but I think I would rather have a Masai contract announcement first before we get to that point. From talking with people that I know that work with the Raptors and in the NBA, it very much seems like a deal is more or less in place, and that he is going to announce it, or they will announce it. It's not a matter of if but when. I'm hoping before the draft, because I think it would be nice for any incoming player to know that, like, Masai is there. I mean, look, Bobby's great, and I think Bobby often gets overlooked because of how great Masai is, but Bobby's great in his own right, and I think that announce Masai before the draft, that would be great, and then take whoever the best player available is at the fourth pick. I mean, there's a lot of people on the Jalen Suggs train, and like, you can't go wrong with anybody that you pick at number 4. I mean,
Mhm.
of course, I'd love to have Mobley because he's fits us the best. But
Yeah.
if Suggs or Green or whoever is available, I'm cool with either.
Yeah. No, I think you hit on 2 points that I was like looking for, which is not necessarily a player, but like what direction are you, like what kind of event are you hoping precedes the draft? And I think Masai's announcement, is fair. Even if you're like, I put myself in the camp of like confident of his return, and they're trying to massage like exactly what the announcement's going to be like. But I also agree. I feel like that announcement might potentially be dulled a little bit by the draft. And like big things happen at the draft too. So, it's going to be weird going into the draft if we're wondering about the exact mechanics of our franchise. And if Masai's, because like he doesn't really do a lot of draft day deals, but it's like, well, if it's not him, will we do a draft day deal? So I feel like there's just kind of like uncertain footing. Nick, let's jump to you. Where are you at with the draft, and like what are you anticipating or wanting?
I've started to calm down because, like Derick was saying, everything I've heard was it's a matter of when, not if. So I'm like, okay, if like Michael Grange, I don't think Michael Grange has been wrong anything about Masai. So I'm like, okay, if you're saying that it's when, not if, I'm good. I'm gonna try to block that shit out of my head and go forward. Like Masai is staying and leading us. As who do I want in the draft? I don't. You take talent, right? Like you take the best, whoever's left. There's some dummy franchises in front of us. They could do some dummy things, and who knows what's going to happen. But also, Masai and Bobby, they know what they're doing, right? So you could, if you flip that fourth or something, or a package, I'm all good, right? Like the history of these guys has shown they've been right 98% of the time, right? So it's as long as they're there, give them the keys, and I'll shut up. And whatever you put on the court next year, we're winning the championship. So let's go.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I love that. It started with shout out to like dummy franchises, and then kind of ended with like we're gonna win the championship, and that's where Raptors fans' heads need to be at, really, because I feel like we should be jacked that not only we're in the draft and we have the 4th overall pick, but ahead of us is Cleveland, Detroit, and Houston. And I mean, I guess they all have had success previously, but not recently. And definitely it doesn't seem like they're putting together like a strong, even Cleveland's been in the draft a bunch, has some high picks, and it doesn't really seem like, with the Garland rumors, it kind of seems like they're already unhappy with their foundations. I guess you could say Houston's really just starting to rebuild, so maybe they're hard to read. Detroit, I think, also is a little bit of a mess, although maybe they're starting to pull it together as well. But yeah, I think and hope Masai would be calling in both directions, right?
Yeah.
And Bobby, like calling to see what's going to take to get the 3rd. What would you give for the 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever? I do really kind of like, I think this year, since I've gotten into the draft a little bit, I do like those 4 players. Like they seem all awesome. I feel like Cunningham's obviously off the board, and likely Mobley. But it does seem like all three of the non-Cunningham guys could really bring a ton of value to the franchise. If not immediately with Mobley, like pretty soon. And I think if we draft a guy like that, we're going to trust him in our system. Any other thoughts from you two, kind of like heading into the draft?
I just want to quickly ask you, like, you hear the projects, right? Like Scotty Barnes and the Kumingas, and I'm not. That's the only one I'm like, don't draft those guys, please, with the fourth. You know what I mean? Don't draft those guys, please, Masai. That's all. I know I've said like I trust Masai, and I do, and if he does, I'll shut my mouth and cheer for him. But I'm like, please don't do that with any of the four guys in the top four still on the board. Don't get Scotty Barnes. Like the footage I've seen, I just go watch. I'm like, I'm not like some college expert, and I don't, I'm not going to pretend I am. There's a lot of that going on the internet these days. Like everyone knows this. No one knows shit, man. Yeah. No one knows shit. You didn't watch these guys play. How many G League Ignite games did you watch for real? Yeah, Jalen Green's gonna be. It's just nonsense. So
I agree with that, and I think the problem is the exact issue that he's talking about specifically is like what people do, and this is what I honestly think some GMs actually do, is they will straight up only watch games where guys go off against their team and then try to pick those guys. So it's like I haven't watched you at all the whole season, but you have one incredible Ignite game, right, on a random Tuesday, and you're dropping like 30 on the 905, and all of a sudden it's like, oh damn, like, is this guy somebody we should look into?
He's a killer.
The thing that puts my mind at ease is because of like Dan Tolzman and like the fact that he was like, we've been scouting these guys for years, like we know where they stand, and with or without a workout, we have a pretty good idea of who we want. I think the picks that aren't being talked about, second round guys, like we've got 46 and 47, and I honestly think there's like a good chance that they could find a real diamond in the rough. Like like the Raptors, like their first round record's not incredible under Masai, it's pretty solid, but for the most part they find their gems in the second round and the undrafted guys in the summer league. So I'm more intrigued by 46 and 47. Not to say that I'm overlooking four is going to be great no matter what, but I'm also of two minds. Like we could end up moving that pick for an all-star if one becomes available, right? Like there's always the talk about Dame trade, which I don't even know if that's really a great trade. And or if a guy like Karl Anthony Towns becomes available, right? Or even a Bradley Beal if Russ ends up leaving Washington. Like you just never know. So as great as that fourth pick is, I don't know for a fact that fourth pick will be there come the start of this upcoming season. Whereas I think 46 and 47 are much more likely to be on our team and are much more likely to be in the G League, especially given the whole situation with Jalen Harris. So I'm curious to see where we get guys there. There's a couple really good, like, I think like that's where you're going to find like a bunch of random, like athletic 3-and-D, 2-way type of players that are like super raw versions of like OG, but like they probably won't be as good, but like you could find something there.
Cool. Yeah, no, I love the idea of like kind of not forgetting about the second round. We like, Jalen Harris, obviously all the undrafted guys, and Masai is clearly, and I keep saying Masai and Bobby are so resourceful. And anytime anyone mentions Tolzman, I just think about this episode of him on Open Gym. That was like, it's just made the scout life look so harsh. It was like, he was like, yeah, I'm going to Nashville again to watch this high school team play, and then I'm going to the middle of Texas. And it's like, it was like, man, this guy works hard, and cheers to him for working his way up the organization. And to your point, Nick, I am in that kind of camp, I think, where we haven't had this high pick in a long time, that I kind of would be, obviously you're going to trust our management, but I'd be down with no surprises. Like I'm familiar with these dudes and they are sick. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Yeah. It's hard for me not to envision like, Jalen Green, like catching a Freddie alley-oop or whatever.
Yeah. I'm just not trying to see like a Rafael Rougeau type situation.
No.
We're drafting Josh Giddey fourth, guys. How do you feel about that? Let's go, Australia, baby.
Let's do it, baby. Josh Giddey actually looks pretty awesome, but
he does too. But he looks sick, please.
Okay, let's bring Maddie in because I want to get a little bit silly here. and just want to see where your guys' heads at on this, like Raptors unveiling. So, speaking about Masai, I guess like returning to, some of the Canadian teams are returning to Canada. I think TFC recently kind of had a big thing. And the Raptors hopefully will be playing in Scotiabank. And I kind of was assuming that there was an announcement of that or something to kind of like engender like good vibes. Not that this wasn't. I just found it to be truly anticlimactic. So I wanted to ask you guys how you felt about this like unveiling, this Raptors Instagram unveiling of this like rotating NFT image that I guess we're all supposed to be totally jacked and excited about. And I mean, if you're big into NFTs, cheers. Like I'm not judging, but I guess it's all a little bit new to me. And yeah, let's go to you first, Matt. What I'm looking for here is I kind of want you to, Matt, do you want some more time?
No, I think I have it. It's super weird.
This.
It's weird.
Yeah, good. All Matt's ramblings, are always welcome on this pod. So we're gonna get some. But what I'm looking for in this answer is like, what's something that if you were in charge of the franchise, and you could unveil, like, what's something that you feel like would be like equally lame, or if you don't want to make something up, what's something you've seen another franchise do, pump up? That's like, wait, this is not a big deal at all.
Well, the first thing that came to mind, I think, would be, I like when they flirt a little bit with the Jurassic Park references, but if they like go too heavy into it, I feel like it's really lame. So, in a couple years, we got the 30th anniversary of Jurassic Park, the movie, and, they could do this, have... Here's two thoughts I had. One was to have the surviving members of the cast come in to play like a game against our team, like Wayne Knight, Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, I don't know if this is late. This might be kind of fun to watch, but Laura Dern, it'd be weird.
Yeah, this isn't weird at all. It fully fits our mythos, and I don't know. I feel like you'd barely have to force Raptors fans to participate in that, I think. So cheers, Matt. Wait, sorry. Is there more Jurassic Park goods? Please.
The only other Jurassic Park good I had is on the 30th anniversary of the movie, they reveal that the Toronto Raptors have done a little bit of the science of Jurassic Park, taken the DNA of our former stars, and they're growing them so that all at the same time we could have Stoudemire, Bosch, Carter.
Okay, this is getting kind of weird. Yeah. It's getting weird now. Like you're going into like full clone. Yeah.
Yeah. The lame part is that it's like a Big Brother live thing where we have to watch them grow up for 18 years. All these players together in like a weird live stream.
Cool.
Pretty freaking lame.
Honestly, pretty lame, but I underestimated just how weird you'd make it because there's cloning going on. There's a little bit of Truman Show in there, I think. And somehow it's all connected with Jurassic Park. So cheers to that. Nick, I want to go to you next. I feel like I didn't say this question too good for Matt's part, but yeah, I feel like they force us to get excited about that. And I want you to kind of give me an example of something you'd force Raptors fans to get excited about that maybe, they don't care about.
It's not exciting. I mean, we've done this before. First of all, I just want to say, Matt, seeing Jeff Goldblum tear an ACL would be just I would pay good money to watch this guy play against the Raps and tear his ACL. It'd be phenomenal. Sam Neill, plantar fasciitis, when he walks off the court, career's over. I'm all on board.
I like
for
the
that,
casual injuries.
Yeah, just I don't know, the NFT, like I knew it wasn't gonna be Masai re-signing. Like I knew like he Masai doesn't do that shit, man. You know what I mean? He would be like, believe in yourself. You think I'm gonna have an Instagram post? Believe in your city, believe in yourself, you losers. And don't worry, it's gonna get done. But we've been disappointed so many times. Like when we started making the playoffs consistently, right? Like the big reveals were always the shirts at the games. Do you guys remember when there was just a beaver? Like they
It
just
yeah, I had that shirt.
It was horrible. The
That-
one year that they actually had like the best shirts was the year we got freaking swept by the Wizards. I was so pissed.
Yes. Yeah, dude. Yeah. But that run before that was like there's a beaver, there was a maple leaf. I'm like,
It was an angry snowball, I think.
What?
Yeah, there was a couple. I think I had that one. It almost looks like like someone holding like a piece of pizza too.
Yes, yes.
It just looks like the drawing's not very complete. Like you
Yes.
can't exactly tell what it is.
It's all that is just like thank God whoever was in charge of that has been replaced. And you know what, Drake has a lot of say in it. He's like, put a goddamn owl on it, we'll be all right. And he's not wrong, dude. He is not wrong. For me, I would just like every time Jalen Harris tests negative for drugs, celebrate that, man. Closer to coming back, baby. 1 year. Every drug test he takes once a month. Hey, man, that much closer, baby.
That would be like a slow and like anticipatory countdown. I feel like, although
And
he'd have to come
him.
back.
Stay clean, baby. Heal up that leg.
Yep.
Stay clean.
You got 12 opportunities, 12 kicks at the can.
Yeah.
Just don't mess up any of them. You got to go 100% and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. Well, I feel like I know. I'm like trying to think
what
of
my
like,
podcast is, Freddie. You know what my podcast is. You know.
I know
it's
what
gonna
it's
be
all
insane.
Hey man, this is the invite the weird question. So Derick, I don't know how you're feeling. What would you force Raptors fans to like partake in?
I mean, I'm definitely not gonna go as weird as like Jurassic Park cloning, or Jalen Harris drug tests. That's like definitely on either side of the spectrum. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
with like dead center, which is basically history, like something that we've all already collectively lived, unless you're like a new Raptors fan in the last like probably 5 years. Celebrating an L by scoring 100 points and getting a slice of pizza. Like, I feel like we've already lived through that, and that was probably like weaker. Actually, no, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna diss pizza that bad. Like, like they got good garlic dipping sauce. It might be a little bit cardboardish, but it's still tangible and real and can nourish you versus an NFT to the keys of like a Raptors history that we've already lived through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna say pizza.
Okay, I think pizza is the perfect answer because I'll put my hand up. Listen, honestly, I like the 3 topping, 3 pops, dipping sauce, $21. I don't know what to say. Every time I tell people that I don't mind pizza, they get really mad and they start listing off like Pizza Nova and all the others. And I'm like, fair enough. I don't hate Pizza Nova or Domino's either. I kind of love them all, if I'm being real.
Look, there's levels to pizza the same way that there's levels to burgers and restaurants, right? Like, if you're trying to have a fancy date or have a nice meal, you're not going to take somebody out to Swiss Chalet. I mean, yeah, they got good, turkey dinners and the Christmas specials, and you might get a little bit of Lindt chocolate on the side. But ultimately, you might want to go for maybe, be a little bit extra fancy. Maybe you want to go to Pickle Barrel. Maybe you want to go to Moxie's. Maybe you want to be basic and go to Jackass or the Young and Dumbass, right? Whatever you're feeling that month, right? It's whatever helps you sleep at night.
I feel like you could be the best Toronto restaurant like salesman. You could go to Moxie's, Druxy's. Wait, Druxy's, that's the one, right? Yeah.
Is that a place that sells pretzels?
I think
I'm thinking of something else. I don't know.
Smoked
Druxy's
meat?
Deli.
Yeah,
what I'm
smoked meat
thinking.
and stuff like
Oh,
that.
that's what it is. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All your guys' answers are good. Mine basically is, it's not. I think it's in the middle. Do you know the Simon Says guy at halftime?
Yes.
I don't know what his name is. I'm Simon, I'm assuming, but yeah, like he gets everyone. He does a big Simon Says. It's really like odd, and he's kind of like power tripping a bit, but it's fun still. Here's what I want. I don't know if those people are paid actors or what. I've never been asked to be a part of the Simon Says thing. I don't know why. Maybe I'm not in the 100s or whatever. Here's what I want. I want that guy to do the halftime show every single game. And I want it to be like a full, large Toronto tournament that we could all kind of like, it's a grand prize. I don't know, like maybe like sort of shawarma for life or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I'm coming from. I want to see the Simon Says guy get like I want to arc. Like I want him, maybe he gets divorced halfway through or something, but like whatever it is, I want that guy to kind of like have an elevated platform.
Dude, can I just give a sidebar on that man? The Simon Says.
Please.
It says is SEZ. So I did like a NACA with that guy. So like the college circuit in America.
Okay,
And,
this is amazing.
He goddamn destroyed. Like that guy makes
bet.
like $600,000 a year, easy, just on colleges alone. I was so embarrassed. So he goes on, he does his like, as the Simon Says, and everyone's going crazy, and then I have to go up and do 7 minutes of clean comedy, and I bombed, and I was like, I got dummied by the Simon Says guy. What kind of piece of garbage am I?
Why'd you have to go after? Like going after Simon Says would
they don't
be
care,
so
man.
hard.
And then after me, there was a lady singing opera. It just doesn't make any sense.
I would have put you first. If I was running the show, I would have been like, listen, once people are up and playing Simon Says, you don't go back from there.
You can't follow Simon. You can't follow him.
Well, and like, what are you going to do? They're going to sit down. They're probably sweating. No, it's bad. That's bad news. Okay. Let's talk some NBA. But before we talk some NBA, just in case we do get an ad, you'll be hearing from us after the break. And now this is just a running bit because we don't really understand how this ad-based algorithm works.
Oh my God.
We're having a good time. It's a bit of a slop show, but it's a good show.
Dude, Manscaped is coming for you, brother. Don't worry. It's coming.
Manscaped, we've been there. Come back, okay? We're running out of products. No, Manscaped. Actually, yeah, I guess we don't have to do ads for them anymore. Cheers, Manscaped.
Ours too, man. Can we stop doing ours as well?
You know what? No slander on Manscaped. Thanks for the.
It's a good, solid product, actually.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just full giddy mode. I'm Josh Giddy. Let's do this. Maddie, I want to talk some NBA basketball. So give me your most delicious NBA Adam Silver tugboat sounding sting.
This is Adam Silver.
People know the boat sound. Sweet. Let's yeah. I don't even know where I'm at anymore, Derick, let's start with you. I'm just gonna Giannis is a 2-time, MVP, finals MVP, NBA champion, and had one of the most ridiculous closeout games we've ever seen. 50 points, 17 for 19 from free throw, 5 blocks, it's just signature plays the whole finals. My question kind of is, do you think people are done talking shit about him? Like, are we at the point where he's going to get a pass for a little bit, or does he still get critiqued when you bring him back into like the best player alive arguments?
Everyone at any opportunity when they can, if Giannis falls flat on his face, is going to flame him. Guaranteed. Yeah. That's just the way that the game goes, unfortunately, right? Like, you could be at the top of the mountain one day and the next year is somebody else, right? Unless you got a dynasty, which we haven't seen in quite some time, you're going to get the flames. And Giannis is not above reproach. I mean, super nice guy, super likable. But people are going to come for his accent. They're going to come for his brothers.
They will.
They're going to come for all of that. They're going to come for the IG lives, the 50-piece chicken nuggets, the
that was good.
Freak in the streets and freak on the sheets stuff, right? So anybody could get it, no pun intended. But yeah, I mean, it's going to happen, and I'm here for it because sometimes you got to laugh at yourself. I mean, look, I feel bad for Chris Paul, but Chris Paul is catching all these L's. And it's deservedly so, right? Same thing with Devin Booker. When you see those Kendall Jenner "I'm coming home" memes to her going over to Milwaukee, it's warranted. I mean, as long as it's not anything personal about these people's families, I think it's all good. If you keep it about the players and like not have it be like super racist or xenophobic,
Yes,
it's all good, right? It's all good fun. But yeah, I mean, right now Giannis is a man. He deserves it. He put a 50 piece up. He's incredible. But the reality is that he's not always going to win forever. And whenever he does lose, people are going to remind him that he took an L, especially Raptors fans.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I feel like Raptors fans will always have that over him. And Derick, I actually want to follow up a bit here, because what I wanted to ask too is like, first of all, I think you nailed it. Like, he's not beyond critique. He will fail and people will jump on that. And then obviously there's just good, fun Twitter stuff going down. Like, he's being hilarious. I'm sure he's going to, like, you know, clown himself somehow, do something stupid. And, you know, that's all kind of like, I think within, you know, the range of things that are expected to happen, and all good. But yeah, what I was kind of like wanting to go deeper into was just like, I feel like in the NBA, when you make big shots, like fadeaways, like, you know, kind of like what Middleton was doing for a bunch of the playoffs, like that puts you in a type of legendary status that it seems like, I don't know, accolades can't exactly, you know, it's not like the same transference. I don't know if I'm making sense here, but like,
I know what you mean. I think, so this is a conversation I was having with one of my homies last night exactly about this type of thing. And I think what's interesting is Giannis is going to be kind of like a case study for how things go in the NBA over the next, like, I would say 25 years, right? Whereas you've got this international player who English isn't his first language. It to me is extremely relatable, but isn't necessarily relatable to the American market as a whole, and is taking everything by storm. Like, if you look at just his career accolades as a 26-year-old, he could retire today and be in the Hall of Fame. Easy.
Yep.
Easy. His resume is
First
that
ballot,
polished,
no
right?
problem.
But is he going to be remembered, or is he going to get the love? Is he going to get the push that the LeBrons do, that the ADs do, that other American athletes are going to get? I don't know if that's going to be the case. But I will say this title, if it ends up being a one-off, will also be one of those things where I feel like there's two levels. There's like the team championships that we remember, like the Dallas Mavericks beating the Heat, or the Detroit Pistons with Chauncey Billups and those guys. Like, we remember them, but we remember more the team than the individual player, and not, we don't really remember moments of like the Detroit Spurs series in like 2003, right? Like, it wasn't that, you know, as far as like,
forces another turnover.
Yeah, like truthfully, the most interesting play that I think I can remember from that entire run is a Tayshaun Prince chase down block on Reggie Miller, which wasn't even the NBA Finals. Which wasn't even the NBA Finals. So that goes to tell you something, right? Same thing with the Mavericks. Like, all I can remember from the Mavericks series is LeBron choking and Dirk hitting every single free throw and every single fadeaway and every single three that the Dallas Mavericks took was just money. It didn't matter if it was Jason Kidd, Peja, Jason Terry, like, everybody was hitting everything at all times with beautiful passing, and it was great. But aside from that, do we look at like Dirk as like, oh man, you know, that one Dirk fadeaway or that one Dirk dunk or something? No. But I do think with this run with Giannis, I think it will be remembered as a level like similar to Kawhi. Like, he didn't have like a 4 bouncer, but him with the hyperextension and then coming back a week later and doing all of this on essentially, I'm still saying there's no way this man's leg is 100%. It can't be.
No
so
way.
Doing all of that on a bum leg, dropping 50 in a final closing game, that's massive. Like, I think the Ayton block was nice. I don't think it's a LeBron block. Like, it was good, but it wasn't LeBron level because there was still lots of time in the game, and it wasn't as clutch as we wanted to make it seem because it wasn't a Game 7. That being said, I still think Giannis is going to be there, and he deserves all the recognition in the world. I just don't know if it can be sustained. He's going to have to do it again, and he's going to have to do it consistently to be at that level where people are looking at him like LeBron. Because I think the other thing that's working against him, he's a big guy. People don't look at big guys the same way.
That's right. That's exactly what I was going to say, man. Like, is when you're a kid, right? Like, you know, when you think of the best basketball players of all time, you go Jordan, right? And then you debatable Kobe right behind him, right? Why? It's because you can pretend to be those guys on your driveway, right? You can't pretend to be the Greek freak. You can't dunk, so you're not going to pretend to be these guys. You're never going to do these things, right? But are people going to slander him? Of course. They're already doing it. They're already like, well, if KD got his, big toe behind the line, you wouldn't even be. They're already doing it. They do it to LeBron every year, but that's mainstream media, right? That's like the Skip Baylesses and stuff. You need this because it's not basketball talk. It's entertainment. They're not critically analyzing basketball games. It's click pieces, right? You want views.
Yeah.
You want the shitstorm on Twitter after you go on TV, right? You want that.
And it's easy to forget that.
Yeah, I get caught up into it too. I find myself getting mad. How come the Raptors don't get caught? Well, because the ratings don't count in Canada, so they don't give a shit for real. They don't care. Why would they care? Not going to make them money, right? It's a business at the end of the day, and he will get slandered, and it for sure is a little bit racist. Like it's just the world we live in, man. Like Americans want to see Americans do great things, right? Like. There's nothing better than that guy's story. Do you know what I mean? But if it was a poor kid from America, he's getting lifted up like he's Jesus. It just sucks, dude. But like it's the Twitter world we live in, and motherfuckers can't wait for him to fail. Goddamn it.
Yeah. And to that point, I think it's always funny about the relatability thing and how Americans want to see Americans succeed because it's very like kind of individualistic and like super based in like patriotism, and like hyper nationalism. Giannis is literally an immigrant. Majority of the United States are immigrants.
Yeah.
Majority of the United States are not wealthy. There's a reason why they call them the 1%. Most of us are poor or came from poor backgrounds. So if you've come from any sort of like low income, poverty, or just not having enough money, even if you're like lower middle class, and you are from a family of immigrants, you've basically described a majority of the United States and a majority of Canada. And to me, I think that's extremely relatable, is somebody who is an immigrant who doesn't come from a wealthy background and is making it with his brothers.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yes.
How is that not marketable?
Brothers.
How is that not marketable to American people? Like that is mind-boggling to me. To me, he's one of the most relatable. Like Luka's great, but I can't relate to Luka, right? But I could definitely relate to Giannis. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
totally.
Here's the thing: like it might not be American media, right? Like that's where we get all our storyline, or sorry, not us, but NBA Twitter get their storylines from American media, right? But look at all the players that have signature shoes, right? Which of the new guys have signature shoes? Giannis has a signature shoe because Nike understands that it's not just Americans that are going to buy these goddamn shoes. This guy is a global phenomenon, and we're going to sell shoes. Maybe the kids in America don't want to buy the shoes, but God damn it, the rest of the world are going to buy those shoes, right? So it's like it's a little bit of both. Like he's going to get slandered in American media, and it is what it is, dude. Like someone that's wearing a Pascal Siakam jersey right now, it's like I know it is what it is, man. I know what it is. So what are you going to do?
Totally. And I think like that's I'm glad you guys brought up this nationalist point. And I feel like there's always this big tinge of that when, there's this constant conversation about Giannis just simply must leave Milwaukee for like a major American market. And, this whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, are we putting like American values on this guy? Like, do we know that he wants to move to LA and New York? Like, do we know that he's not enjoying Milwaukee? Do we know that Jokic is not enjoying Denver? You know what I mean? Like, Jokic isn't really, part of this conversation, but I mean, like with Giannis, it's like, there's this idea that he has to be a certain way and he's breaking the mold. And I think like Derick was saying, it's like, that is the best thing the NBA could ever hope for. And for me, I'm glad we're talking about this because, this isn't to slander like the Kyries or the Butlers or the big shot makers, but I do think there is this idea that like you can, being a driving force like a Giannis or an Embiid and, not necessarily like being able to hit those like fadeaways in the clutch, although, that's probably not fair of Embiid, but like that, it's like you're not whole, like you're not what the NBA wants. They don't want to market around you. And I feel like a lot of this is marketing issues for the NBA. They kind of have built this thing where, like you were saying too, Nick, like everyone wants to be Michael Jordan and Kobe. And, sometimes there isn't enough room for like other types of players. And, this actually kind of dovetails perfectly into my next question, which is, what do you think is going to happen, as far as like small markets? Like, people are talking about this as a win. Is that just kind of like it happened, so they're trying to say that it's a good thing, but really behind closed doors, the NBA would prefer more super teams, or, kind of like wants it to trend in that direction? Like what do you feel about like the implication of this for Milwaukee, Phoenix, and the league, Nick?
I think so much of it is like we're in the middle of a giant shift, right? Like where the NBA makes all their money from advertisements and TV deals and things like that. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have cable. I haven't had cable in 6-7 years. I've stolen every goddamn basketball game I've ever watched, right? So it's
nice.
You're not getting my money, NBA. You know what I mean? So it's this big thing. So you're pushing these guys up. You're like, this is not how the world works anymore, right? It's going to change. I think they just are in the middle of signing their new deal, the NBA, with Turner. I don't know. Or they did already. They've re-upped, or they're about to re-up on something. And I think that's it, man. Like it's going to change. It's going to be on your team to do it, right? So the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be fine. Like your percentage of the league money might come down, but people in Milwaukee will still, that's up to you. Find a streaming service, sell your ads there, and get everyone in Milwaukee to watch this guy, right? And the same with Toronto. We have our own things, and you know what I mean? Like it's all different. Like the big market, the little market, it doesn't mean shit to us because we're in Toronto, right? Like our views, we could have the biggest views in league history, but they don't make no money from it. So who gives a shit, right? I don't know. I find big market, small market. I'm like, the world is such a different place, and these conversations they're not a thing anymore, relevant. Man. Yeah, the dude came from Greece, piss poor. He doesn't know what Milwaukee treated him good, dude. That's all he needs. Milwaukee treated him good, and they're willing to spend money to put pieces around him. Done.
Yeah, and I think also they built properly. Like, he re-signed, they got Holiday. I think like it's not the same kind of international thing, but you look at the Pelicans with Paul and Davis, and now they're trying again with Zion, and it's like, man, the Bucks, they got their guy, and they did manage to build properly. I think you could argue Giannis is better than all three of those guys, but that's a factor for sure. But they did what they needed to do. He bought in. He's clearly having a great time in Milwaukee, and he wants to like win a bunch more championships there. It seems, anyways.
All the guys that own the teams are billionaires, right? If you want to win, you have to spend money. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. You hit it off in like Detroit, right? They get Cade Cunningham. He's a generational player, let's say. Hopefully, good for Dwayne Casey. God bless you, brother. But you have to fill out the rest of your team. You have to spend money. At some point, you have to be like, okay, we got to go for it. Like we saw the Raps, we went for it, right?
We did.
Put in that. You have to go into the luxury tax if you want to win. It's just the way the league is, man. Like.
And any owner that, if I was like a Houston Rockets fan, I'd be so upset right now, because I'm like, man, it's awesome to have a wicked draft pick, but we have this owner that seemingly wants to save as much money as possible. And that's like, it's not exactly. It's a great point. It's not how you win at all. Derek, what are you thinking about the Bucks Suns? Like, the wake, I guess, like what are you feeling? The market conversation, is it dwindling in terms of like its relevancy? Is it more about like the players and where they choose to go and they can create it,
Yeah, I mean, like I got a lot of thoughts on this, but I think it's the big market, small market. It depends on who you are and where you are in the world. Like what is big to you and what is small, right? Because there's always going to be the glamour markets like the New Yorks and LAs. But as far as size goes, Toronto's right there, right? Like we're not that far off from them. And then if you're looking at it from just like a fan base perspective, we have an entire country. So nobody's fan base is bigger than ours, unless you want to say like based off of brand recognition, maybe the Lakers, because they're probably the most, most aware franchise in the world, or like the most prominent name rather, that people think
Right.
of when they think of the NBA, right? But that again, they also have a massive Chinese market in Houston, right? Because of Yao Ming, because of the inroads that they've made. The international market, like European basketball, has always been big for decades at this point, but it's especially big because of the fact that there's so many European players, and now you've got guys like Luka Doncic who they can kind of carry the mantle for. So when you say big market, small market, like Dallas is in Texas. Texas is not a small place. It's very big, right? Even if those cities are small. And then you look at like a place like Boston, for example. I don't even know if Boston's bigger than like Mississauga or Vaughan. Like
Ha!
like from a population
real, yeah,
standpoint, you
yeah.
know?
It's true. Boston, yeah, like it's
But
the
yet
kind of
they're considered,
reputation.
yeah, but yet they're considered a quote unquote, historical big market, like a glamour franchise, which makes no sense to me because I'm looking at my city and I'm like, yo, we have way more people than you. We're cleaner. We've got a better situation. We've got better management. And we don't have nearly as many racist people, although that exists everywhere.
Loving the Boston slander.
But I mean, it's just facts though. It's just facts. And even though they might hate that, that they can agree. Like, when we have a guy like Danny Ainge who says that, he's never seen any, incidents of racism throughout the Celtics. I'm just like, bro, do you know who you played with? Like, do you know?
I know.
You
Bill
literally
Russell,
worked
hello.
with Bill Russell, like, so the whole big market, small market thing really just depends on your perspective. Obviously outside of sheer population numbers and then like media markets, but really when I think about that, it's really just New York and LA, right? Like Miami's there, but people still view Miami as like kind of like the tweener big market. Like they're not really big, but because they're a destination and they've got like beaches and no state tax in Florida, that they become a place to become like a glamour market. But I mean, at the end of the day, there's more than one way to win a championship, and our team, I think, really showed that. Like the teams that have been the outliers to dynasties and maybe aren't always contenders every single year, but have managed to win one in Toronto, in Dallas, in Detroit, with the 2 titles that they won as well, right? Like those are all places where they didn't have necessarily the biggest superstar in the league. They didn't necessarily draft every single top pick that was available. It was a mixture of both, right? I think the one thing that we can all say, with the exception of maybe Detroit, is that most championship squads need a top 5 player, like no matter what. And if you have a top 5 player and they're a superstar, you can also come to terms with the fact that as great as they may be and as good as you might build that situation out to be, they're probably going to leave. And if they do choose to leave because of whatever reason, whether they want to go home or more money or another situation, they're obviously going to tend to lean towards bigger markets, because bigger markets also offer bigger money and incentives off the court, right? So like I think back to like when Tracy McGrady was with the Raptors and they had asked him, like, obviously he wanted to go home and he didn't want to be in Vince's shadow, but also Adidas was like, hey, we'll give you more money, right, if you come to the US, because we can market you better in Florida than we can market you in Toronto. And it paid off, right? Like his jerseys were like top 5 in the league, sometimes even number 1 with Kobe and Vince and AI.
He had a pretty good season that year too.
He was, winning scoring titles, never made it out the first round, but he was balling, and it was partially because, okay, I'm going to get paid either way in the NBA, but I'm also going to get this money in another market where it's bigger than the quote unquote Toronto or Canadian market at that time. But I mean, ultimately, I think, yeah, I'm happy for Milwaukee. I'm happy for Phoenix. I think it's a good thing for them. But I also think that at the end of the day, like and what I was alluding to with the Giannis situation and what we're going to see in the next 25 years of the league is, as things become more international, you are going to find more star players that are not American, that are not enamored with the American glamour markets, right? So, yes, like, would it be great to see New York basketball be great again? Absolutely. And they are getting there and they're building something, right? Which is great. Happy for them. It's an incredible place. It's an incredible city and a great place to play basketball. But is it the end of the world that they're not great? No, because the NBA has been just fine without them for the last, 10 years? right?
Yeah.
Like they're not hurting if New York is not there. They're not hurting if Boston's not there. They're not hurting if Philadelphia is not there. So I think, great for the small team markets, but the dynamic is changing in the NBA. And I think you're going to see more international stars choose places like Toronto, choose places like Dallas, choose places that are not the New Yorks and LAs of the world.
Man, I totally agree. And this is also like my dream. I've always felt with basketball, I've said this so many times on the pod, but out of all the major sports, it has the least amount of professional players. I think the NBA is up just over 500 or just under 500. And that's total players. So that includes, all the Malakis of the world and the Aaron Baines of the world as well. And, it's like, I don't know what the number of let's say 300 guys, right, are playing on a regular basis if every team plays 10 people. And yeah, I totally agree that the international talent is going to be like the main, driving factor in like the erosion of like what market, like how much the market matters. And I agree too that like glamour markets will be that, right? Like I don't think Milwaukee's ever going to become New York City. So if you are a player where, you're like top 3 in the world and that just will kind of make sense for you. But, the key here, I'm hearing in both your guys' points and I'm feeling too, is like, to me, the connective tissue is development. And I think whether that's developing a culture, developing a market in China with Houston, or developing your players through not necessarily like lottery picks like Golden State did. And, Golden State, I think, is also an interesting market. Who knows what the deal is with them in San Francisco now. I don't know like if it's like less genuine. So, or I don't know. I don't know if people want to go there still, but regardless, I think prior to that, I remember I would always go to a Raptors game with my brothers one person would buy the tickets for Christmas, and it would always be before we had season tickets, the Golden State game, because that was like the cheapest game. Mm-hmm. So we'd see Monta Ellis go off or whatever, and Andres Biedrins, and that's how we did it. But yeah, Golden State, they became a dynasty, and yeah, I think markets will be like a fluid conversation, and thanks to both you guys for bringing good points. But I feel like I want to wrap this baby up and get silly with some quickish questions. Derick, Nick, what do you say?
Sure, let's go, baby.
Maddie, please come in. But before that, give me that quickish questions sting.
Quickish questions.
Okay, guys, another bit of a delay because I didn't fully set this up. Okay, here we go. I did. I'm back. I'll work on my smoothness, I think, for the rest of my life, and we'll see how smooth I ever get. But yeah, I got a fun all play for this. So let's go Derick, Nick, Matt. Quickish questions is I'm gonna stumble through these questions, stutter, misread them, maybe a misplaced comma. Who knows? That doesn't matter. You have to answer as quickly as humanly possible. No delaying. You can't phone a friend. Matt started repeating the question back to me, which is a trick I don't like. So none of that, please. Okay, cool. Let's get it going. Matty, good sir, please hit that licensed music. Derick, what big 3 rules, if any, should be adapted to the NBA? And we're talking Ice Cube's big 3.
I'm going to say I really like the 4-point shot from the half-court line. I honestly think that should be added, because at one point in the NBA, they were like, why do we need a 3-point shot? And now look. So give me a 4-point shot from anything from half or beyond.
Ooh, I like that a lot. A 4-point shot would be something that would be like, what is this? And then like when someone came into the league and started hitting it, everyone would be like, this rocks. Okay, that was a bit too much enthusiasm. Nick, are you good with Suggs?
Yeah, man. If he's the best guy on the board, I'm good with Suggs. Hell yeah. Agreed.
Maddie.
Yeah.
What
What?
terms of a new contract would you be comfortable with giving Kawhi given his ACL tear?
Oh, jeez, that ACL tear. I would be comfortable with giving him a 3-year contract with the final year's an option, so 2 solid years, and I'm not worried about anything because the only people that know how to load manage Kawhi Leonard are the Toronto Raptors.
Correct. That wow, Matt even gave me an okay because he knew the answer was sick. You rocked it. Okay, let's do the all play here. And I just want you to react to friend of the pod Yawatua's point on Giannis. So I just want to hear what you think about it. So he says, we're going to start with you, Derek. Giannis is the best player in the world. Not a question. Just wanted to be said on the pod. Derek?
At this moment in time, right now, today, July 21st, 2021, Giannis is the best basketball player in the world.
Okay. Nick, yeah, you heard what I said. Where are you at?
That's the Finals MVP, 50 piece, man. Like that's as of right now. God damn it, that's the big dog in the league, 100%.
Maddie, are you going to break rank here? Or are you like, no, it's Aaron Baines? What's going on?
Maddie's about to pull a perk. He's a hooper or a basketball player. Which one?
No, I agree with that. I also think that it's not just right now. I think that this was a passing of the torch, and I think that Giannis is going to be that top guy for many years to come.
Wow. You just won up the guess, Maddie. Thank you so much. Guys, this is it. We made it to the end of the pod. For everyone who's been listening and kind of, commenting and helping our pod grow, thank you so much. This has been a really fun time. But yeah, before we sign off, let's just check what everybody's doing. Derek, what's up? Is there anything you want to plug, or if not, say to the world?
I just want to continue to share love with everybody. I know we're still very much in a pandemic and things are improving, but I hope everybody's continuing to stay safe and stay healthy throughout all of this, and enjoy that I guess those relaxed restrictions where you could actually see people and get a haircut. So
hey, you're looking fresh.
Just stay safe, everybody, and continue to support your local broadcasters.
Yeah, I love that. Support your local broadcasters. Damn right. And hopefully by next pod, I will have a haircut and it will be delicious. You're looking good. Nick, what's up? I say keep the mustache, but what's going on with you?
I'm waiting for my my appointment to get my hair cut. That's why I'm wearing a bucket hat inside. That's why I look like Zorro if he didn't have a horse. You know what I mean? I look disgusting. But it's coming, man. What's going on with me? Stand-up comedy is back outside. People heckling you from the goddamn street. Buses are honking in your ear. Come out and see me, man. It's a good time. Have a pint and enjoy a laugh.
Yeah, man. Listen, the bucket hat looks good. You're the best. Guys, thank you so much. This is a great pod. Yeah, and thanks for everyone who's been listening and all that good stuff. Maddie, if you feel like we're done and we're good to go, please just give me those sweet words. Okay.
Okay.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.